right, hello everyone. My name is Victoria, and I teach yoga in the fitness center at WSU. I teach one of the yoga classes, and since we've all been home for a while, I thought it would be really fun to make like an at-home yoga video you guys can do. Maybe for some of you who have attended my class and want to do another practice with me. I know I've really missed practicing with all of you. Or maybe if you just wanted to try yoga out and maybe see something that's like at your school but are too nervous to go to a live class, I thought this would be really fun. I have like no video editing skills, so like whatever happens with this happens. If you want music and like to practice with music, I can put a link to some of the playlists I use in class for you to play in the background, because I don't know how to get that in the background. And also, if you end up doing this practice and really like it, or have really liked going to my class this year, I'm also going to put a link to a YouTube channel that I practice with a lot, called Yoga with Adriene. And a lot of my teaching style has been really inspired by her. So if you like my class, you'll probably like her channel. So yeah, we can get started then, lying flat on our backs in Shavasana. And one more thing too, since like we're at home, to make it more fun, if you want to add like a little blanket to your practice or something, I just have one kind of off to the side for at the end. So totally up to you. But we can get started lying flat on our backs. Releasing the weight of your body into the ground. Starting to pay attention to the breath. Feeling your inhales get longer and then your exhales get longer. Releasing anywhere where you might be holding tension, maybe in the face. Starting to wiggle the toes and the fingertips, and blinking the eyelashes open. And on an inhale, we're going to reach the arms up and overhead, run into a suitcase here, point through the toes, get a full body stretch, and exhale, release. Nice. On your next exhale, we're going to bring the knees up over the hip points. You can do one knee at a time too, just trying to engage the core. And then reaching the hands out, we're going to breathe in all together. And exhale, lifting the shoulders, the head, the neck, keeping space between the chin and the chest. Just engaging the core here. Making sure the back is flat on the mat, and if your knees need to go out a little bit or in order to do that, it's totally fine. Holding it here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and releasing on the 1. Nice job. You can hug your knees into the chest then, starting to rock back and forth, maybe giving the lower back a little massage. And then whenever you're ready, crossing the ankles, grabbing onto the feet, you can rock and roll up, up to a seat. Meeting me in a cross-legged seat or a different seat of your choice when you get there. You can always sit on your blanket too if that's more comfortable for you. Otherwise, sitting up tall, finding length in the spine. Aligning your head over your heart and your heart over your pelvis. closing the eyes or softening the gaze. And then on an inhale, we're going to bring the hands together at the heart and set an intention for your practice. So maybe that's to relax, to let something go, to build strength, to be present. And I always like to encourage you guys, for whatever amount of time we're on the mat, to really let go of any negative or toxic thoughts you might have throughout your practice. I know sometimes we can be critical of ourselves. Maybe we want to like do the poses better, or anything like that. Just set that aside right now. That is not helpful to anyone. And then inhale, remembering your intention. And exhale, blinking the eyelashes open, releasing the hands. We're going to do a couple breathing exercises to start off today. So first, we're going to bring the hands out, and then on an inhale, following your own inhale, we're going to reach the arms up. And exhale, pretend like you're pressing something down. Maybe you're moving through water, pushing the hands down on the exhale. Following your breath, inhale and exhale. As you're doing this, really notice the ribs and the belly filling with air. Imagine like maybe you have a balloon here and it's getting filled up. One more time. Nice work. So now we're going to go into something called alternate nostril breathing. And you can wash your hands too before doing this, if you'd like to, because we got to touch the face to do this. But you're just going to take your dominant hand and put your 3 middle fingers down. So you kind of have like the like surfer kind of thing. Otherwise, you can like modify if like that's not comfortable for you. But basically, so you're gonna take your thumb and cover cover one of your nostrils. My voice sounds kind of funny right now. And then inhale. Pause, and then you're gonna switch, cover the other nostril, and exhale. So what I think is super helpful about this, especially for when we're feeling stressed, is that when you're doing one nostril at a time, you can breathe in for longer and breathe out for longer. So I find this really helpful to do whenever I'm feeling stressed because it kind of like it really slows down the breath. So this is something that you can just always like easily do if you're feeling overwhelmed or just need a way to calm down. So yeah. Nice work. Releasing the hand. Um, and then we're gonna do some things to release some tension in the neck and the shoulders. So first, we're just gonna do a couple times of bringing the shoulders to the ears and then looping them back and down. So the shoulder blades kind of melt down the back body. Doing that a couple times. Following your breath. One more time. Wonderful. And then we're just gonna make circles with the nose. So start making your circles really small and then gradually have them get bigger. And then once your circles are pretty big, you're gonna reverse your circle, this time starting with these circles big and then gradually making them smaller until you come back to center. So take your time. And whenever you're ready, we're gonna dive on forward into all fours. So meeting me once you get here, and then I always kind of go through this in class, but really paying attention to your alignment here, even in a pose like this that seems kind of simple. So making sure that the wrists are underneath the shoulders and the knees are underneath the hip points, and then really lifting up through the spine so you're not collapsing into your shoulder blades. Finding length from crown to tailbone. And then whenever you feel like you have your alignment, we're going to do a couple cat-cows. So on an inhale, dropping the belly, cow pose, look up. And exhale, starting with the tail, rounding through the spine, contracting through the stomach, cat pose. Following your own breath here. On your next inhale, coming to neutral spine, whenever you get here. And then we're going to do a little something to warm up the core and the glutes. So on an inhale, we're going to send the right leg back, toes point towards the ground. So trying to maybe level out the hips here. I know it's really tempting to kind of let this hip go, but trying to keep the hips in alignment as best as you can. Also keeping the spine in alignment. And then whenever you're ready, you're going to point the toes up towards the sky, bending the knee. And then we're going to do some baby pulses with the foot. So this really activates some of the muscles in the core, in the glutes. It's also a great way to check in with the spine, making sure we're not losing our alignment when we do something like this. And it doesn't have to look perfect. Just noticing how this feels, paying attention to what's going on in the muscles. And on an inhale, letting that go. And exhale, bringing this knee up and in and planting the foot in between the hands. So we're at a low lunge here. If you want to, you can walk the back knee a little bit further back for a deeper stretch. So maybe finding a stretch here then, maybe swaying from side to side, maybe coming back here and stretching through this leg. You're at home, probably by yourself, so it doesn't really matter what you do. Just finding something that works for you. And whenever you feel ready here, you're going to press into the back foot and the front foot, hugging the thighs in towards center. And on an inhale, lifting the arms forward, up, and back. Crescent lunge. So creating space in the shoulders. Maybe picturing like having a beach ball in between your hands. That's what it kind of always says on the YouTube channel that I like to use. Maybe imagining that one guy who has like the Earth Atlas, like that image, just creating space in the shoulders. On an inhale, if you're feeling brave, looking up, and exhale, bending the elbows, creating space in the chest. Plant the palms, and we're just going to bring this knee back into all fours. So realigning here. And whenever you're ready, on an inhale, sending the left foot back, dialing those toes to the ground, trying to level out the hips as best as you can. And whenever you're ready, pointing the toes up towards the sky, bending the knee, and doing a couple pulses here. And these are muscles that we use every single day for almost everything we do. So even though this probably looks a little silly, it is super important that we are checking in with these muscles. On an inhale, letting that go, and exhale, bringing this foot into our low lunge. So doing what we did before, just kind of finding a stretch here. Maybe looping the shoulders up and back so that we're not collapsing into the heart space. And then whenever you're ready here, on an inhale, reaching the arms forward, up, and back into a crescent lunge, remembering that space in the shoulders. And maybe if in the live class you normally don't go for this option and just kind of stay here, now would be a great time to try to come up just because you're at home. So, I just hit the door. So yeah, you guys know what I'm saying. Wonderful. On an inhale, looking up, and exhale, bending through the elbows, opening through the chest. We're going to plant the palms, bring this knee back, and then as you're ready, curling the toes, maybe walking the palms out a little bit so you're working with some more space. And on an inhale, sending the hips up and back to your first downward dog of today's practice. And then maybe pedaling through your feet. Maybe looking underneath the left shoulder and underneath the right shoulder. Maybe wag your tail. Just having some fun here. And then I get questions sometimes too about what is right for your downward dog, what's the right way to do it, or for any of the poses. And I always say, if you feel comfortable, you're getting a stretch and you feel like you can hold it for a little while, you're doing it right. Everybody's body is very different, and the poses are going to look different on everyone. So I wouldn't worry so much about that. Just really trying to get a stretch in the back of the legs here, in the calves, supporting ourselves so we're not collapsing into the bones. And then whenever you're ready, on an inhale, looking up, and exhale, walking the feet up towards the hands, meeting in a forward fold. So consider keeping a generous bend in the knees here, and then really releasing the weight of your head and your neck and shoulders, creating space in the spine. You can always clasp the elbows or sway from side to side, or maybe find stillness. And then on an inhale, pressing into the heels, keeping a generous bend in the knees, we're going to slowly roll up, feeling each vertebrae stacking on one another, meeting in mountain pose. So once you get here, really grounding into the feet, finding a lift in the chest, and grounding into the heels, aligning your head over your heart, and your heart over your pelvis. And sometimes I like to hang out in poses like this for a while, because these kind of poses seem really simple, like it kind of just seems like you're standing here. But I think the longer we're here, the more we can really pay attention to our alignment, noticing how we feel, because we're not just standing, we're making sure we're staying lifted and also grounding down into the feet. So there's like a lot more to think about than it looks like. And I think that a lot of what yoga is just finding awareness throughout the entire body. Awesome. On an inhale, reaching the arms up and overhead. And exhale, you're going to bend the elbows, opening through the heart like we did in our lunge, and then diving down to your forward fold. On an inhale, taking a halfway lift, finding length from tailbone to crown, and exhale, release. Inhale, bending the knees, reaching the arms up and overhead, and exhale, opening through the chest, diving right back down. Inhale, halfway lift, finding length, trying to hug the elbows into the side body, and exhale, release. Inhale, rooting down through the feet to rise, reaching up, and exhale, diving it back down. Inhale, halfway lift, and exhale, you're going to plant the palms and step the right foot back. And then from here, you're going to pivot on the back foot, pressing into the feet. So back foot plants at a 90-degree angle. Whenever you're ready, rising up to your warrior one. So you can keep the hands on the waistline here, or maybe up and overhead. Inhaling all together, and on your next exhale, extending the arms out into your warrior two. So really extending the energy through the fingertips. On an inhale, reaching this front hand forward, up, and back. Peaceful warrior, keeping that bend in the front knee. And exhale, extending back down. But this time, we're going to walk the fingertips out in front of you, send this front foot to that 90-degree angle so we meet in a wide-legged forward fold. And if you got a little lost there, you can always rewind and just watch me. So extending into your wide-legged forward fold. Maybe walking the hands out underneath you. Maybe staying on the fingertips. Wonderful. And then you're going to walk the hands back out. Point this time the right foot forward. And then bend through that front knee. Walk the fingertips to frame the foot. And whenever you're ready, on an inhale, come into that warrior one. So maybe sinking the hips down. On an exhale, finding your warrior two. And inhale, peaceful warrior. Heart dials towards the ceiling. And exhale, extending back down. Doing the same thing, so walking into your forward fold, your wide-legged forward fold. You can always keep a micro bend in the knees here if needed. And whenever you're ready, pointing these toes back, coming into a lunge, and you're just going to rock the front foot up to meet, or the back foot up to meet the front. Meeting in a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, finding length. And exhale, release. Inhale, reaching up. And exhale, hands to heart, remembering your intention for your practice. And exhale, releasing to mountain pose. Okay, and then from here, we're going to do a pose that I think is really fun, that we've done in class a lot. If you've attended my class before, you probably know what's coming. It's kind of like a windmill pose, but you're going to walk your feet out a little bit wide and keep a buoyancy in the knees. And then you're just going to kind of start to sway from side to side, keeping the arms nice and loose. And I gotta be careful because when I was practicing this earlier, I totally hit this wall. So I'm gonna maybe go forward. And then gradually you're gonna start moving the arms faster until they're all the way out. So this pose looks really ridiculous, I realize, but it's super fun. It's a great way to just get some movement throughout the entire body, release some stress. Maybe starting to go really fast, and then gradually starting to slow back down. Coming back to your sway. And eventually coming to mountain pose. Notice how you feel. Maybe that's not something that you would normally do, but hopefully it was still fun. And then from here, on an inhale, reaching the fingertips up and overhead. And exhale, extending down into a forward fold. Planting the palms, we're going to step the left toes back, followed by the right, plank pose. And then we're only going to do this once, so give it your best shot. We're going to breathe in and exhale, bring the right knee up towards the nose. Inhale, release. Exhale, bringing the right elbow towards, or the right knee towards the right elbow. Exhale, release. Inhale and exhale, bringing the right knee to the left elbow. Inhale, release. Inhale and exhale, bringing the left knee towards the chest. Inhale, release. Exhale, left knee to left elbow. Inhale, release. And exhale, left knee to right elbow. And inhale, release. Nice job. Coming onto the knees. And then you're going to swing both of your legs off to one side, coming into a wide-legged seat. Now would be another great time if maybe you feel like you're kind of collapsing here to sit up on a blanket. And this isn't the Olympics, so you don't need to get your feet out as wide as possible. Just like in a wide-legged seat, however is comfortable. And then from here, you're going to bring your left foot in. And then you're going to plant the left palm, and on an inhale, sweeping the right fingertips up and overhead. Exhale. And then this time, planting the right palm, we're going to swing the left fingertips up and overhead. So following your own breath, moving back and forth here. Evening it out. On your next breath in, you're going to bring the fingertips behind the ears and reach them up and overhead. Dial in the heart towards this right foot and exhale. Extend. So having that intention of bringing your nose to your right knee, but if it's not anywhere close, that's totally fine. Maybe you're even hanging out here with your palms planted. And I always say no forcing in any of these stretches. If you naturally can't get all the way down, I know I can't, then don't force yourself to, because that will do more harm than good. And I also always think it's true that your body kind of has different levels of flexibility every day. And as someone who's practiced yoga for a long time, I always feel like what I'm able to do one day is very different from the next day. So we're really just checking in here. And on an inhale, slowly rolling back up, switching the legs, and then doing the same thing here, planting the right palm on an inhale, sweeping the left fingertips up and overhead, exhale through center, inhale, planting the left palm, sweeping the right fingertips up and overhead, and moving back and forth. evening it out. On your next breath in, bringing the fingertips behind the ears, up and overhead, dialing the heart towards this left foot, and exhale, extending down. And also it's always good to kind of work yourself into the stretch. So maybe you start up here and then with each breath kind of working your way down. It's a great stretch for the hamstring, for the lower back. On your next inhale, pressing into the sits bones, slowly rolling up. And then we're going to bring the legs together out in front of you. Coming to lie flat on our backs whenever you're ready. And then once you get here, you're going to plant the feet kind of up by the sits bones. And then pretend like you're holding maybe a block in between your legs so the knees aren't coming in or going out, but they're staying in alignment with the hip points. You're going to reach the arms out, and then on an inhale, starting with the tailbone, you're going to lift the hips, coming into a bridge pose. Once you get here, think about bringing the chest towards the chin and the chin towards the sky. And then starting with the top of the spine on an exhale, slowly lowering down. So really articulating through the spine. Doing that one more time here, starting with the tailbone. Inhaling, lifting the hips up, bringing the chest towards the chin and the chin towards the sky. Maybe interlacing the fingertips underneath you to create more space in the shoulders. One more breath in here. And exhale, releasing the bind, slowly articulating through the spine, releasing back to the mat. From here, you're going to walk the feet together and bring the knees out wide, coming into reclined cobbler's pose. And then from here, you're going to reach the arms out in front of you, lifting the head, the neck, and the shoulders, keeping space between the chest and the chin, holding it here, engaging the core, breathing deeply for 5, 4, 3, 2, and releasing on the 1, bringing the hands to the belly. So the elbows kind of mirror the knees. If you feel any tightness in the hips, you can walk the feet further away from you. I can hear my sister watching Tiger King in the other room. Maybe if you can hear any sounds around you, just notice and appreciate it. I know it's always nice to do yoga in absolute quiet, but sometimes it's okay if there's other sounds going on, because that's just reality. Bringing the knees together. We're going to bring the feet out wide and then allow the knees to fall in together. So feet are about as wide as a yoga mat. Maybe putting the hands on the stomach and feeling it expand with each breath, maybe on the ribs. And then separating the knees, we're going to breathe in and exhale, allow both of the knees to fall off towards the right. Looking off towards the left, maybe extending the arms out if you have room. I don't have room right now. Inhaling back through center. And exhale. Knees fall off to the left. Gaze falls off towards the right. Inhale back through center. And eventually extending the legs out long, meeting in our final and most precious pose, Shavasana. And if you brought a blanket to practice today, you can either, if you're cold, just cover yourself with it in this Shavasana, maybe take a little nap afterwards. Otherwise, you can put it like underneath your head as a little pillow. That's what I'm gonna do. Releasing any tension. Giving gratitude for whatever you were able to do in today's practice. You guys are awesome for even taking the time to practice while you're at home. Inhaling all together. And exhale really loud, sigh it out. One more time. Inhaling all together. Exhale. And fully relaxing. If you want to hang out here for a little while, maybe just spend 5 minutes resting in Shavasana, feel free to do so. Otherwise, if you need to get going, wiggling the fingertips and the toes, waking yourself up. Whenever you're ready, rolling off to one side, coming into a seat. Bringing the hands together at the heart, remembering the best in ourselves and acknowledging that in others. Namaste.